Workplace stories. Here we go. Hotel housekeeping. If it comes out of the human body, I've cleaned it up. I started in a by-the-hour motel when I was 14, owned by a woman who didn't bother with hazardous waste procedure and cleaned up what looked like a murder scene with nothing but bleach and kitchen gloves. I walked into that room and was absolutely positive that when I pulled the shower curtain open there was going to be a body in the bathtub. Thankfully there wasn't just blood everywhere. Owner refused to let me report it, made me clean it, and I didn't want to get in crap for bleaching a murder scene at 14, so I never did call the cops. I worked night shift stocking for one summer during college. There was once a couple that came in the night before bamboozle started and they wandered around the store for 6 out of the 8 hours I was there, and they were high as frick. The woman kept asking me about which baby wipes would be best to take with her to the festival. And she would pick stuff up and carry it around for a while and just set them down in random places. Another time I was hit on by a man while I was on my way to the restroom. He called me Mammy and he had a greasy jerry curl and the largest case of Natty Light that we sold. I hung out in the bathroom for a while after that because I was super TGYELI, and I was also surprised by how many people will take infants shopping at 11 p.m, replied newborn's nurse every 2 to 4 hours. Sometimes it's nicer to hit up Walmart at night where you only have to dodge pallets instead of rude people, especially if the baby is going to be awake and keeping you awake anyways. Now when the child is old enough to sleep through the night, that's when you're trying to finally catch up on your sleep. Also, so late night Walmart trips are out. I worked in the sporting goods department of a super Walmart for a summer, and one time had to spend almost 10 minutes convincing a man he was not allowed behind the counter to look at the ammo in the cabinet, and that I also refused to open up the case until he got back on the other side of the counter. This was mostly because a disgruntled ex-employee had broken the key off in the lock after unlocking the cabinet and leaving it open, and the manager didn't see a point in replacing it. Every time someone wanted to look at a box of bullets or shells or anything, we had to pretend we were unlocking a totally open glass cabinet door. Even know if the guy gets behind a register because he thinks he can, or the totally unlocked bullet cabinet is the more Walmart part of that. Eventually we had the store manager and security there forcibly removing the guy from the store because it eventually became about the principles of this being a free country or something for the guy. Actually, that was probably the most Walmart part. Reply: okay, I'll just go and stand in that guy's room and look through his closet because it's a free country. My freaking time to shine. He's not here anymore, thank God, but I think it still counts. Let me tell you about this stain on society's butt. For reference, I work in a troubled youth therapeutic center. * refused to get a key to the gate, which led to half of all of the buildings of which he most commonly went to. When asked about it, he would just say that's what I have you guys for. * frequently late clocking into work. * fell asleep on the job almost every night. People in charge couldn't get rid of him because we're so horribly understaffed, and the kids liked him. When confronted by other staff, he got defensive and told us to mind our own dang business. * rarely ever wore the company uniform. He almost always wore DE baggy sports jets over a long sleeve shirt. Who knows if he actually had the uniform on underneath. One night I was paired with him, and I'd had enough. I wrote him a note so as not to alert the kids as to what was going on. That said, if he fell asleep, that I would report him to our supervisors, and he literally began verbally abusing me, calling me a piece of crap, I have no life, I should just kill myself now, etc. One don't work there anymore, but when I was a delivery driver for a pizza company, there was a guy who just didn't give a frick. The boss had the hots for him, so he got away with so much crap. Never arrived when he was supposed to, always got to go home on time, or early if he wanted, even if we were completely backed up. Whenever he closed, he never cleaned in the back kitchen, so instead of firing him, his shifts got changed to opens. He would take random breaks and play guitar and sing loudly about getting drunk and smoking that leafy green stuff in the storeroom. Loud enough for customers to hear. At one stage he even peed on the floor in the room where we made the dough. After a few months he went on holiday. To work as a photo lab. * associate in a Walmart in Southern California. So occasionally we get women that like to print out naked pictures of themselves for their spouses that are in jail, prison, and each one of those times we have to recite a script claiming that for some legal reasons we couldn't not allow them to purchase the pictures and we would have to dispose of those said pictures in the shredder. One particular woman liked to hide her nudes on the different packages that comes through the machine that prints out the pictures. My job, which I enjoyed very much, was to look through each one of those pictures with the customer one by one. I generally handled the pictures like I handle poker cards, by the way. Each time I had to do the search in front of that particular woman, I always end up feeling like a professional poker card handler, and the thought of finding a big red thumping vagina staring at my face came to me like trying to find Waldo in a children's book. Sure enough, when I find them I get this acute angled smirk grin on my lips that's hidden very well, and the recitation of the script comes to play. Reply: Omen, if I didn't work in electronics and covered for Photolab often I would have not believed you. But so many people tend to try and print this out. Heck, I remember when we got a new seasonal A*08, she was probably 19 and Mormon. She went to go A*ist someone on the self-print machines and she came back terrified from what she saw. A kid had just started his first day as a cashier and he had trouble working the register. The customer got really pissed off at how long he was taking and cursed the kid out and then spit in his face. The guy just walked off as everyone stared and the kid cried. Another time 2 white guys came in asking every Hispanic if they knew where the burritos were and they were laughing and giving high fives when they told him where they were. Also, the manager hired this other guy who later told me that he and the manager were having an affair and their wives didn't know. I called bulls thinking he was messing with me and then showed me a picture on his phone of them kissing. The guy ended up ratting on several employees for being lazy or on their phones and got him fired. After a few months I had it with that place. They were extremely disorganized and irresponsible that it was a miracle that the store even functioned. Abuse was the only thing the managers did well. It was as though they were competing with the customers to see which of them could make us feel more like trash. That guy that is involved in a pyramid scheme but still works the same job as you and tells you about all the money you can make if I just have a brief 30 minutes conversation with him. So why are you working here if you can make huge amount of money? My boss asked me what my Christmas plans were. I told him I'm Jewish. He, in all dead seriousness, asked me if I would be more comfortable in accounting. When I was in the Air Force there were plenty of these types of people, but there was one legend who will outlive them all. Let's call him Vic. Vic was in his late 30s maybe, balding, overweight, annoying, and generally the worst NCO non-commissioned officer the US Air Force ever saw. Here's a list of his accomplishments. Vic routinely practiced terrible weapon discipline. He would constantly have his weapon pointed at you. He couldn't even clear his weapon to enter the chow hall. A Marine had to do it for him. I had never been so embarrassed to be an airman in all RN. Vic somehow came back to the site with junk every single day. We have no idea where he found it or what half of it was. He once brought back a gigantic Donkey Kong-looking hammer, no explanation for its intended use. Another time he came back with a belt of ammunition that he had found on the road. Yeah, sure, you know, it's a war zone. People get blown up every day by improvised explosives on the side of the road. Just go pick something like that up. Vic would argue with you about where your hometown is located geographically. Vic was responsible on more than one occasion for complete mission failure. The specifics I can't quite divulge, but rest *UIED he was brilliantly stupid. Vic could barely speak or write English. He was born in Florida. His ancestors came to this country a couple hundred years ago. Vic dropped a T-wall, giant concrete wall on a tent with a front loader. Almost killed someone. Vic wore my uniform top back to his barracks, then later denied the whole thing. Vic was fired from his position twice on 2 separate deployments. Saw him a year later, he had been promoted. Office manager, former girlfriend of Sales Guy 1 and Sales Guy 2, tired from dancing to go straight. She still escorted on the weekends though. processed finance applications and did the cash drops at the bank. Owner paid everything in cash and specialized in selling cars for just below $10,000. Every Friday we had a customer who would come in and co-sign on a crappy Nissan Altima with $80K on it and would pay in cash. Always from NY or North Jersey. I just say *UMED they were engaging in narcotics or human trafficking. Mechanic, quiet guy, kept to himself and would listen to classic rock all day. After about a week he told me was happy for the job as he had been away for a while. He was good about showing me how to work on engines, and we would hang out in the garage drinking Miller High Life out of paper cups. Dude loved Steely Dan. After about a month I knocked right out of there. While the pay was good, the ongoing drama of the people I worked with wasn't enough to hang around. Whenever he wants to say something, he pauses in the middle of the sentence, like he's waiting for you to react to every bit of information. So, my son was watching Netflix, pauses for 4 seconds, eye contact all the time, and he told me to join him, pauses again, to start watching Jessica Jones. He usually do it with a glass of water, and take a sip during the pauses. Not working there anymore, but I had one coworker, call him Roy, who was a POS. We worked in IT support and Roy was considered the expert for a certain system our team managed. He was supposed to train me, but he only taught me the very basic stuff. He never told me about the plethora of problems that can occur with the system. When alerts did happen which I had no idea what they were or how to respond to, he would chastise me and throw replies. There was another incident where the boss didn't trust him to come in for an overtime shift, so I was asked to come in at a certain time to cover. I called Roy first thing in the morning and asked if he would come in. He said he would, so I went in at my normal time. Roy doesn't show and I'm forced to work 10 hours that day to cover his lazy butt. Surprisingly, the incident didn't get him fired, but he did proudly announce he found a new job a month later. The new job rescinded their offer and he went into survival mode. He deliberately continued to train me poorly to make himself unreplaceable, but the company refused to let him stay, and that was the end of that. Not a specific person so much as a group of them, but in the factory world it is generally the temps. They're always an interesting group of characters. Our current batch includes a quiet dude who is a good worker and decent overall, but quietly sings and mumbles to himself and always has a vacant, dead look in his eye. No one hates him, he's just kinda spooky. A girl with a wonky eye who openly tells people she's on dope and doesn't have custody of any of her kids and randomly interjects personal questions while you're working with her. Always on her phone, against factory policy, and wanders away into the bathroom for long periods of time. A passive-aggressive terror of a lady who's catty towards all the other girls, then plays dumb and teases guys into doing her work for her. Honorable mentions: who were canned. Wolverine, a middle-aged balding guy who wore button-downs with torn-off sleeves with the top buttons open to expose his manly chest hair. Total perv who hit on 18-year-old me constantly and then called me ass ****. Would touch the operator's machine settings, which is grounds for a shanking. Some 20-something kid who was being let out of prison to work. He wore this shirt that said "Cool story babe, make me a sandwich" every frigging night. He never shut up, claimed he had his own business and would tell stories about how he ended up producing 7 children by different women while still currently married to the first one. Had a coworker find a pregnant woman in the women's bathroom, on the floor unconscious with 4 cans of Duster Air around her. Can't believe roofing isn't on here. That is absolutely the freaking worst. Replied pretty much like being a human egg on a griddle all day with the side order of humping shingles around and trying not to fall and break your neck.